Thank you so much for joining us on CBS 8 Plus. I'm Heather Myers. Here at CBS 8, we are working for you, getting to the bottom of some of the stories that you've asked about. We start with a story that we've been following now for weeks. Homeowners and HOAs dropped by their insurance companies because of wildfire risks. Meanwhile, others are dealing with increased premiums. CBS 8's Morgan Reiner is now taking the fight to the state capitol, talking with lawmakers in Sacramento.
Lisa Meyer lives in San Diego County. She owns a townhome and an HOA with 186 others.
During our HOA's last insurance renewal, we were notified that we would not be renewed due to proximity to high fire risk areas.
The policy they were kicked off of was $54,000 a year. Their new one?
Annual premium of $293,000. This resulted in an emergency assessment to each unit owner to cover the cost of that new premium amount.
Janet Hayes lives in a planned community in Anaheim Hills.
In 2020, Horizons paid $39,000 for property and fire insurance. This year, we are going to pay out $417,000 plus interest.
That's a 970% increase. So what happens when someone is dropped and they can't find insurance? They can temporarily use the state's FAIR Plan, a nonprofit insurance plan which is meant to be the insurance of last resort. But the plans they offer are not large enough to cover HOAs. Senator Pro Tem Tony Atkins sent a letter to the California Department of Insurance asking them to help by ordering the FAIR Plan to increase their capacity so that HOAs can apply.
We will collapse in those areas.
President of the FAIR Plan, Victoria Roach, told lawmakers today that a move like that would not work because they don't have the funds to cover all the damage to HOAs if there were to be a fire, and they would have to fall back on regular insurance companies to help cover the costs, which they say would increase premiums for all Californians.
We're at a breaking point. The good news is we can't break because the industry is there to catch us. The bad news is the industry is there to catch us, and that means that every policyholder in the state of California is going to have to pick up some of that cost.
I asked the California Department of Insurance if they plan to expand the FAIR Plan.
Something that we are working on. We're looking at it with the FAIR Plan. We want to make sure we do this right the first time. And so, again, we'll have more to come on that, but we're absolutely looking at that right now.
Just to clarify, it's something you guys are looking at, but as of right now, there is no order in the near future to do that.
Again, I can't comment on timing. What I will say though is we are looking closely at whether what increase to the FAIR Plan coverage limits might be needed. What's going to actually help people in the long term.
Our Morgan Reiner reporting there. Well, the insurance commissioner did put in new regulations that begin in April. They will require insurance companies to provide discounts for people who take necessary steps to reduce their fire risks. People will also be able to appeal the fire risk score their insurance company gives them with the state. SeaWorld San Diego is changing how it does business. It's now moved to cashless operations, which leads people to ask if other local businesses will follow this trend. CBS 8's Ariana Cohen went to SeaWorld to learn more. She's working for you to find answers to frequently asked questions on this new system.
SeaWorld San Diego has switched to cashless operations, which means all you have to do is just swipe or tap your credit card, debit card, or smart device with Apple Pay or Google Pay everywhere you typically use cash. SeaWorld San Diego visitors say it makes things more convenient.
I think it's good. I mean, we hardly carry any cash anymore, and everything seems to be on card, so it works for us.
Yeah, we love it. We love everything that's not paper.
If you come to SeaWorld with only cash, they now have these new machines that allow you to convert cash to a prepaid card. All you have to do is put your cash inside the machine and you get a prepaid card that looks like this that you can use outside of the park.
I know there's some people that don't use, cards whatsoever. However, I do like the fact that there's like an alternative.
I spoke with a University of San Diego economics professor who says more and more businesses are going cashless.
I think it is going to be the trend of the future. The pros as far as business is concerned is that they can reduce some of their expenses. You also get a situation where it's less likely that you're going to have theft. if you're not dealing then with large amounts of cash.
However, he says there is a downside to not using cash.
The worry is that if you don't actually physically exchange cash, you may basically lose track of your spending.
Working for you, I researched a few answers to frequently asked questions about SeaWorld's new cash-to-card kiosk system. How much cash can you load onto a Visa prepaid debit card at a cash-to-card kiosk? Answer: you may load up to $500 at a time. There is no minimum amount required. How can you check the balance of the Visa prepaid debit card? Answer: you can check the balance at any cash-to-card kiosk at SeaWorld or go to rcbalance.com. What if you still have funds left on the card when you leave the park? Answer: your Visa prepaid debit card can be used anywhere Visa is accepted. I found out if you use the card regularly, you will not incur any fees. But keep in mind, after 92 consecutive days with no transactions, you will be charged $3.95 per month as long as there is still a balance on the card. SeaWorld staff tell me, similar to a gift card, the debit card cannot be canceled. Ariana Cohen, CBS 8.
Well, not in my backyard. That's what people in La Mesa are saying after finding out about a proposed battery storage yard right in their neighborhood. CBS 8 Shannon Handy spoke with neighbors about the renewable energy site and is working to get answers. She shows us their concerns and what the company behind the project is saying.
The proposed site sits on El Paso. On one side of it is a strip mall. Here on the other side are homes. People who live here tell me they weren't properly notified, and A1 answers. This approximately 8,000 square foot lot on El Paso Street in La Mesa has sat vacant for years, but that may soon change as plans progress to build a battery storage facility here in the coming months.
Just few steps from my backyard.
Giselle Abu Shakra has lived above the site for nearly 35 years. She told me her concerns, including its impact to her property value, the noise, fire risks, and potential dangers to her health. Keep in mind, there's already a large electrical substation directly across the street.
So now we don't only have this on this side, we're going to have this below us. So we will be all surrounded with radiation and whatever it is.
Not only that, but Giselle told me she and others weren't properly notified.
They don't tell us anything at all, nothing.
She only recently found out about the project thanks to 3 small signs posted by the city along the fence line detailing a public hearing Tuesday night when the council will vote on whether or not to vacate some of their unused land, allowing it to be built here. She and others, including Amy Riker, believe the city should have done a better job letting people know.
We feel completely blindsided in this neighborhood.
City Council member Laura Lofian agrees, telling me she tried posting about the project to the city's homepage, but was blocked by both a former and current city council member.
When Amy Riker called me and she showed me the sign, the microscopic sign, I was embarrassed. I think the city of La Mesa had an ethical responsibility to let the neighborhood know what's going on.
I reached out to a spokesperson with the city of La Mesa as well as the Solana Beach-based company behind the project, EnerSmart. The city spokesperson confirmed public notice is not required. Meanwhile, EnerSmart's managing partner, James Beach, told me he wasn't aware of any concerns, saying he contacted neighbors by phone months ago.
It bothers me to find out from you that some neighbors are having some issues. We did try to reach out to everybody and get ahead of this.
Admittedly, he says some never responded. As for the issues raised, James says a 6-foot noise barrier wall is part of the plans, as is a riser for firefighters to access water on site in case of an emergency. I asked him about health concerns as well.
Is this emitting stuff that can be detrimental to our health?
No emissions whatsoever.
James says he's happy to speak with neighbors and will be at tomorrow night's hearing where many plan to attend to have their voices heard. It starts at 6 o'clock at La Mesa City Hall. Working for you, I'm Shannon Handy for CBS 8.
Shannon, thank you. Neighbors along a Spring Valley street say speeding cars and street racing are turning their neighborhood into a dangerous place. They reached out to us and we got to work. CBS 8's Brian White went to the neighborhood to try and find a solution for the speeding issue on Elkleton Boulevard.
Not only do cars travel too fast here on Elkleton Boulevard during the day, but come nighttime, street racing is a real problem. A viewer sent in this clip of two cars speeding by during a street race with law enforcement on their tail.
It's at least 2-3 times a night. People flying down this street.
This stretch of road on El Kelton Boulevard between Noah Line and Delrose Avenue has seen speeding problems for decades, but neighbors say street racing on this quarter-mile straightaway has gotten worse.
It gets worse every year.
Long stretch, no stop sign.
High speeds and dangerous racing at night is often a recipe for disaster.
People were drag racing down through here, going way too fast, landed in between the tree and the house.
I've seen fences get knocked down. In fact, the fence here from our house was knocked down years ago.
Neighbor Joe Williams tells me this stop sign is constantly being knocked over by speeding drivers.
That stop sign right there, that's a new stop sign. It's been there about 2-3 weeks. It don't last.
The speed limit here is 40 miles an hour, though signage is scarce.
Do you think 40 miles per hour is too fast for a residential neighborhood?
Yeah. They should knock it down to 35.
Spring Valley is an unincorporated area of the county, so I called the county's Traffic Advisory Committee.
I want to talk to you about a situation on El Kelton Boulevard.
We talked about speed reduction signs and other possible traffic calming measures. The person I spoke with said he'd share these concerns with the committee at an upcoming meeting. But as far as street racing, neighbors would like to see law enforcement around here more.
I think if there was a bit more patrolling, I think that would make a lot of us feel a lot safer.
Traffic enforcement around here is actually handled by CHP.
There's plenty of street racing going on.
Jared Grieshaber with CHP tells me street racing can have serious consequences.
We will come to your residence and seize your vehicle for up to 30 days. You can be in prison up to 90 days, and there are fines up to $1,000.
He also told me neighbors can file traffic complaints with CHP about the racing issues, so they can increase patrols during those times. I'm going to stay on this story. Spring Valley, I'm working for you. Brian White, CBS 8.
Wow. Remember, we want to work for you too. If there was something that you would like us to look into, just email us at workingforyou@cbs8.com. Thanks so much for joining, and we'll see you next time.